Let's set a baseline by looking at two identical financial variables, you and your coworker Ryan. You are both 24 years old. You share the exact same starting salary, the exact same job title, and you sit at identical desks in the exact same office. If we map out the financial loop of this starting point, the chart looks like this. Every 2 weeks, your income column spikes up, but it is immediately followed by a rapid segmented drain. Rent, a car payment, the automated subscriptions you forgot about, lunch is out. The money vanishes down to near zero, looping in a relentless, predictable rhythm. Even when a promotion hits, say a $4,000 annual raise, the math barely shifts. The income column spikes slightly higher, but the expenses instantly expand to swallow the new height. You sign a lease for a nicer apartment, you upgrade your phone. The baseline always returns right back to zero. This creates a visceral illusion of forward momentum. You feel like you are advancing, but the financial structure leaves you entirely fragile. You are running at full speed while standing in exactly the same spot. A single flat tire or a minor medical bill is an emergency you cannot actually afford. The fracture between these two identical paths starts on a Tuesday. A $1,500 quarterly bonus lands on your desk. Instead of feeling a rush of relief, you run the math on the rest of your life. 40 more years of the paycheck landing and immediately leaving. 40 more years of running on the absolute edge of broke. An older coworker notices the panic. He drives a 10-year-old car, never seems stressed, and offers a quiet piece of reality. There is a massive difference between looking like you made it and actually making it, and almost nobody knows which one they are chasing. You decide to step off the treadmill. You make a strict rule. From now on, your future self is the very first bill you pay every month. Before rent, before the car, you move money entirely out of reach of your current impulses. You calculate the exact date that you could finally be free, and you circle it on a calendar. Ryan makes a very different decision with his bonus. He signs the financing papers for a 3-year-old black BMW. He pulls into the corporate lot, guys walk over to admire the wheels, and he immediately projects the image of a man pulling ahead of the pack. From this specific Tuesday forward, the starting lines permanently break apart. You begin pursuing invisible wealth in complete silence, while Ryan funds visible status using invisible debt. Fast forward to age 26, and the psychological weight of this choice sets in. The quiet life has absolutely no metrics. There is no leaderboard for the money you save, no applause when you decline a purchase, and zero social validation to tell you you're on the right track. You sit at a birthday dinner while the people around you loudly share their stats. The guy across the table announces his promotion to senior manager. The woman next to him details her new condo purchase. When the question reaches you, you say you're still at the exact same job and watch their faces drop as the conversation quickly moves on. By age 27, the pity becomes open. Ryan parks his sleek BMW next to your aging Corolla. He looks at your car, looks at you, and asks if you are doing okay financially. He offers to help you out if you ever need it, completely unaware that you have more in savings than he makes in a year. By age 30, the urge to abandon the plan hits a breaking point. You sit in the dark, opening a car app on your phone. Your thumb hovers over the financing button for a newer model. For 30 seconds, you are entirely willing to trade the safety you built just to feel like a player again, just to look like you are winning something. Escaping the rat race requires basic financial math, but the execution relies on brutal psychological endurance. You have to willingly look like a loser for years, while everyone around you appears to be winning. At age 31, a systemic shock tests both strategies. A sudden company-wide layoff sweeps the floor. In a single morning, both you and Ryan receive the email. Both of your incomes drop to zero. You have a hidden nest egg, but it requires fierce protection to survive. So you swallow your pride. You move back into your childhood bedroom with your parents. You sell your motorcycle, the one thing you owned purely for joy, refusing to drain your funds just to keep up appearances. We can see how Ryan's timeline reacts to the exact same shock on this split-screen diagram. On the left, your hidden savings block remains solid. But on the right, Ryan refuses the humiliation of downsizing. He takes on a worse job in a panic just to keep the BMW. The expanding red void beneath his car shows his rapidly accelerating trap of hidden debt. The people who used to work with you view you as a tragic failure who finally fell behind. They look at Ryan, who kept the apartment and the car, as a resilient survivor who managed to keep swimming. But when the economic system breaks, the look of success becomes a heavy anchor that quietly drags you under. Invisible wealth is the only construct that provides an actual physical safety net. Move the timeline forward to age 34. The hidden nest egg finally stops feeling like a daily sacrifice and transforms into tangible leverage. It stops being a number in a drawer and starts operating as time. The two divergent paths finally collide on a Tuesday night. Ryan is sitting on your couch, holding a coffee, asking to borrow $2,000. A decade of masking his financial reality with loans has caught up with him. Meanwhile, your reality operates on a completely different physical plane. A flat tire is no longer an existential crisis. It is merely a Tuesday errand. A toxic manager is no longer a cage you are locked inside. It is simply a situation you can afford to walk away from. The ultimate metric of true wealth has nothing to do with a luxury vehicle or a corporate title. Wealth is the purchase of options. It is the absolute, unshakable ability to say no. For 10 years, nobody noticed you were winning. And that is exactly why the strategy worked. Escaping a rat race requires realizing the game never had a real audience. The victory happens the precise moment you stop running to impress people who were never watching in the first place.